Hey everyone, so today I'll be doing the May book haul. There is one book that I got in late April that is part of this, so let's get started with that one. This one actually kind of has a story behind it. I didn't technically buy it. At the end of the hall in my complex, there's this little area where the garbage chute is. And sometimes people leave stuff that they don't need anymore, don't want anymore. They leave it there in case anyone in the complex wants it. And in this case, it was books. Now I stood there, garbage still in hand, completely distracted by all of them. Most of them were kids' books. They were Goosebumps books, even though I did want to take all of them. The little conscience in the back of my head said leave them for the kids. But I did take one. And this one's called Time Cat. And it just sounded so cool. So it's about a cat that knows how to talk, goes through 9 lives, and talks about them to his owner Jason. And it just sounded so cute and so entertaining. So I grabbed it. And I think who left them behind was either a retired teacher or maybe someone that just wanted to trade out for new books and was getting rid of these. And I think that because if you look at the side of it here, it's Mr. Scott. So thank you, Mr. Scott, for this free book. And I told my roommate about it, and I told her where I got it. And she laughed at first, but then she grabbed the back of the book, read it, and now she's interested in it too. So we may both read this book. The Time Cat is the first in this book haul. Now the rest of them I did buy, and the rest of them were actually in May. So on to those. So the first one is Victorian Ghost Stories. And I got this, I think I'm kind of getting ready for Halloween. I don't know if it was because I was just in that section. That is my favorite section for books. Or if I'm just kind of drawn to it because I'm thinking, what books can I talk about during October in the middle of all my Halloween countdown videos? So it may be very Halloween oriented at that time of year, books included, because I have things like this now. Even though a friend of mine did say when I showed him the cover, I took a picture of the cover and texted it to him because he loves Victorian stuff like I do. He mentioned that ghost stories were told on Christmas. So maybe I'll save this for December. But they're Victorian style ghost stories, as the title says. And it's about haunted houses, vengeful spirits, warnings, beyond the grave type stuff. You know, the general ghost stories. So this will be a real fun read. So this was one of the books that I got. All these I got from thriftbooks.com. And now this one. So the last books that I've read, or the last few books that I've put in my to be read pile, I noticed a trend, at least with the Winter People, how it took place in the early 1900s. And I think when I saw the back of this book, Uninvited Guests, I was drawn to it because the time frame where it takes place in. It takes place in 1912. So it's about two different houses or manors, what they're called back then. One of them is getting ready to celebrate a birthday, totally happy, everyone's in good spirits, and then a few miles down, something happens in another manor, and they somehow end up in this happy one, needing to escape, and so it sounds like they're trapped together. The uninvited guests. Sounds like that's who they are. So this book sounded really interesting to me, so I grabbed it. Yeah, so it sounds like it might be a happy ending, just based on what it says on the front. You know how they always have quotes from like newspapers and other authors and stuff like that. So this one says, exhilaratingly strange and darkly funny, the uninvited guests will haunt you, but happily. So this should be pretty interesting. The third book on the list. So on to the next one. You might notice a little bit of a theme here with some of the books I'm getting. This is another one that has to do with ghosts, and it's literally called Ghost. This one, so I actually had this on my wish list for a real long time. I think this was maybe the first paranormal type book on my wish list since I started thriftbooks.com. And I finally got it. I figured, why not? I'm getting all these other books that have to deal with ghosts. May as well add this to the mix too. So this guy is just kind of going through life as normal. His name's David. So David's just kind of doing his normal thing. And he sees something in the corner of his eye that he can't explain. Is it a ghost? It probably is, because of the title of the book. But you kind of go through it with him, discovering what he saw, opening that door to supernatural. I think it'll be a real fun read. I may have to read this soon, after the other pile of the books that I have to read. Soon. Alright. And this next one, okay. So, I think I have this. I'm not 100%. So when we were little, my sister and I, my mom was accumulating boxes for us. She was saving things from when we were kids, and she gave them all to us. My box is a little tricky. So when I lived with my dad, it was all kind of kept in this big box that my mom gave me. And then as I was moving from room to room, this is my current room, they divided stuff up. So I don't know exactly where everything is. But I have this weird feeling since I bought this book I'm about to talk about that I saw it in the box. I don't know for sure. So that's why I bought it. I mean, I figure if I do have my childhood copy of it, that would be kind of cool to keep both of them, because I know that one was from so long ago and this one is a new copy. You know what? I'll talk about it. The Giving Tree. Right? How can I not buy it if I'm not sure I don't have it? I know it's a kid's book. I know I probably took this from a child that would want to have it. I know that. But what about an adult that really wanted to have it? I really wanted to have this. So I bought it. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a review on it because there's only so much of the story to talk about. But I do have a plan for it. I'll be talking about it somehow. So look out for that. That should be coming soon-ish. Soonish. And you guys knew this would come up. So those of you that know me know I love supernatural. I can't shut up about it sometimes. And I bought a book already. Hang on, this one just fell. I do have a book based on the show in my current to be read pile. For those of you that have seen that video, you probably remember seeing it. And I got another one. So this one, Nevermore, that's the title of this one, I figured was pretty popular because I had this on my wish list. I was gonna get it, and then it went out of stock. I was gonna get it again, and then it went out of stock. Again, and went out of stock. So I'm like, okay, next time I see it, I'm definitely gonna get it. So I finally did. And I am so glad that I picked this one, because it wasn't until I got it home where I read the back, and it has a serial killer involved. So I'm gonna confess something. Please don't judge me. But you know those memes that say, watch a horror movie and you can't sleep, but watch a documentary on a serial killer and you sleep just fine? That's me. I can watch any kind of gruesome thing on someone that really did these things to someone and sleep just fine. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm watching a documentary on Ted Bundy on Netflix, and I watched an episode, just fell right asleep. So when I read that this was involving a serial killer, because I'm watching them now, thinking, well, this is kind of perfect timing to buy it. In supernatural fashion, basically, there's this crime going on that needs their attention. So they go over there, and if they don't stop this is what sounds really cool. This is a serial killer part of it. I'll go ahead and read this snippet of the back for you. So it kind of talks about what the book is about. So there's a murder that happened in a bizarre way in New York. It happened in a creepy way that kind of mirrors stories of Edgar Allan Poe. And then the very end of it seems so supernatural, like it's got me really excited to read this book. It says their investigation leads them to the center of one of Poe's horror classics, face to face with their most terrifying foe yet. And if Sam and Dean don't rewrite the ending of this chilling tale, a grisly serial killer will end their lives forevermore. I'm glad I finally got my hands on this. And this one I had to get for two reasons. Because it's Stephen King and it's baseball season. How can I not? So, Blockade Billy, I may have to read it soon. So it's baseball season, which seemed the perfect time to get this. And Stephen King is a big baseball fan, which I kind of love. I feel like I have that in common. We love spooky and we love baseball. It's about a baseball player, and they're saying that his story was never told, so this is the story of it. And plus it has a bonus story in there. So I may end up sneaking this onto my to be read pile, like the one that I'm going through right now, because it's baseball season. So I feel like I have to cover this soon before it's over. So this one you may hear about kind of before everything else on this list. But Blockade Billy, there had to be a Stephen King in there somewhere. I mean, come on. How could I get scary books without Stephen King? Even though this one really isn't scary. That I know of yet, anyway. But Blockade Billy. And the last one, which I've covered kind of already, this ghost book. So, what I didn't cover, I just kind of briefly mentioned that I got it in my last video. What video was that? Oh, Friday the 13th. It was Friday the 13th. So, what I didn't cover in that video is what kind of stories are in here. And I haven't read any of them yet, but I did kind of look through the titles of them and I kind of got an idea of how long each one is. And they kind of vary. They're about like 3 pages or 20 pages. It really depends on the story. But the titles of them, and yeah, I opened the book and I do have to be very careful with it. So this is definitely an at-home only book. So I'm a big fan of Annabelle, Conjuring. I mean, who isn't? And then I came across one of the titles, and it's The Doll's Ghost. I can't explain how excited I am to read that story, but oh man, am I excited! So I may start this one really soon, just to kind of get to that story alone. But anyway, that is my latest book haul. So it's mostly ghost books and a little bit of my childhood, but I couldn't not get that one. I mean, The Giving Tree, so excited. But yeah, I'm gonna try and not buy any more books because really it is getting out of hand. And I did have this idea to do to my closet. I kind of want to turn it into like a library. It is nowhere near it yet, but when it starts kind of looking like something, I'll start showing you guys. So hopefully some of these books will have somewhere to go, because right now they're just kind of all thrown on my shelf. haphazardly, nowhere to go. I should really stop buying them. But that's what I have to share for you as of today. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.